was kind of a non-factor, so I'm not sure about you, Ender, but that's kind of my big 1v1 that I'm curious about stepping into this map.
Yeah, absolutely. We were sort of highlighting Sayaplayer on the analyst desk yesterday too, and he showed up versus C9. And one of the things I wanted to look at was the duo play, KO and Jet from Sayaplayer and JonahP. You can already see them trying to poke their way through B main. This is something you're going to see a lot. And off the initial contact, it doesn't hit, but JonahP is there for this fight.
I love that little bait and switch between Jonah and Sayaplayer. Little dash back right into Jonah's waiting arms. They had the isolation, and with that, first blood is tallied. And how about this? The guard showing aggression and then immediately backing off, saying, you want to give us numbers? We'll take it.
Yeah, now OpTic haven't really spent that much, right? It was just a contact play right there, so still have 3 smokes, a stim, a flash, and a knife out of their KO, so a lot to work with. But right now they're pretty spread out across the map, so the dart up into heaven is mainly just to try and sell a fake as crashies runs out onto site, and the 2 players with the spike are going to B.
Yeah, but that nano swarm made life very easy for the guard. And now as the second knife comes through for OpTic, this will tilt the head to Trent saying, okay, I've got point of contact immediately here for a 5v3. Shock dart out, low HP is Victor. But it's actually FNS in the middle of market who's able to kind of stall out the reinforcements with a kill of his own. So OpTic have given themselves space and a post plant to really work off of. FNS through the sky smoke, he could cut this in 2. The guard are waiting for it, and time is crucial here, Ender.
Yeah, OpTic have to worry about this guy in their spawn. Sayaplayer's coming around the flank to try and shut him down, but FNS is able to get 1 end damage down on Valyn. 2 players boathouse to try and come away with this. Victor in a 1v2.
Valyn is low. It's definitely doable, but Victor on 1 HP really has a double peek come out, and Valyn will find the final elimination. But I will say that for 3v5, OpTic definitely threw their weight around a little bit, largely looking at FNS to get through the middle of the map.
Oh yeah, OpTic definitely made guard work for that one. Still though, I think you can see sort of the structure in guard's play in a round like that, right? They get the initial pick outside of B main, then OpTic spread out across the map, have that fake over to A, but guard were never really in a position where they were fully biting off of that. They still had 2 players floating pretty close to B, and Trent not getting the initial pick on the player when he was backstairs on site ended up making the round a little bit closer than it needed to be, but still the structure in their play means that OpTic aren't going to be able to find windows where they can sort of sneak past guard's defense.
I like that call, and how about this? OpTic feeling saucy after the initial kills plus the plant. They're going to bring some weaponry into this second round. So call it what it is, about an even a dispersal of at least weapon power going into round number 2. A little sniper battle over the middle of the map, although one is a Guardian, one was a Marshal, and Ye will still collect first blood. Again, that's an important 1v1 to keep track of, and now it's up to OpTic to see what they want to do with the numbers on the attacking half.
Yeah, I think someone actually dropped that Guardian over to Ye because he has full armor on that too, so much faith in Ye to try and clutch up this round for OpTic in the 5v4, and Guard had to deal with the early round forces from C9 yesterday, but not ready for the long range battle of a Guardian. Good drone out from Trent is going to spot just the one because FNS is able to knock that down. And a counter drone through mid to try and escort Victor up if they want.
Yeah, and I love this, just OpTic establishing some mid-map presence here through the first 2 rounds very quickly. So look at the long lurk out of Valyn around the back. The Observer is switching to it right when it's most crucially going to be found. And yeah, there's going to be a couple of tags here or there. No eliminations, but that's great awareness from the guard as far as where this hit is coming from. The fragment to delay the play through B main, but Marved and co. already on, forcing Trent to have to respond, and the flash help is perfect. Trent able to take down the first, more around the corner, continual flashes over the top, and Trent has held his ground, and OpTic, they need to flush him out, and they're having a hard time doing so.
Trent gets so much work done in the back of sight right there. OpTic went for the force, but Net takes down the player in B main, and Guard are gonna win that second round, shoving OpTic down. And the play from Guard there was exquisite. Valyn, the hero from Guard yesterday on Split versus C9, gets the initial flank to take Marv down super low. And then I think it was JonahP that flashed out from CT, and that's what enabled Trent to sort of swing out of Boathouse and get the first kill. So the util there, absolutely on point from the Guard.
Yeah, good coordination and communication coming through, and you think if you're OpTic, you are about 3 steps away from being completely concealed on that mid hit, but such is life. And now we get to a very strange third round where it still will feel like a bonus for the guard, but I say that with only limited amount of hesitation because this is going to feel like your normal third round advantage coming through in certain regards. OpTic looking to take, again, another full stack through mid, at least for 3 members. Using the sky smoke as cover forward, Sayaplayer respecting that this could be a play has backed away, but the timing actually favors the guard. Already OpTic as they get the first blood, and now Sayaplayer is completely caught off guard.
The frenzies, 3 kills just like that. Net's up in heaven, he has to get something done, he has the spike. And an Ares, but he's getting swarmed with 3 players in full tree control over to OpTic.
And Jonah's completely stuck away from this play as well. He's being guarded by FNS. We'll hear a lot of these sound cues. You don't expect him to win this battle, but even still with 7 HP in the frenzy, it's OpTic who come out on top with just pistols. And you want to talk about a weird look to an opening map in a grand finals, you're getting it right here.
Yeah, I mean, OpTic just waltzed their way straight down mid, Guard not putting much pressure there, and that's something that is a little bit frequent for them, you know, bunkering down on sites a little bit more, but just not expecting the timing of 3 players walking through mid just like that. You can see Sayaplayer had just left that angle in mid, and all of a sudden there's 3 players popping out right there. So really unfortunate situation for them. Although at the same time, I guess because OpTic forced in round 2 and lost it, and then win round 3, it almost feels like a normal game of Valorant, and Guard are going to have rifles on the majority of their players.
Just a bit delayed.
Yeah, exactly.
Normal, but different at the same time. So now for OpTic, what's next? A lot of mid presence is going to be largely countered as Net is saying, okay, let's make sure we've got some utility here. Alarm Bot will possess this mid market as the same owl drone will come through. You also have Sayaplayer defensively who will be looking to try to possess at least some defensive numbers through the middle of the map. And as the owl drone scouts this out, it's OpTic who have the initiative as they've got some space to work with here at B main.
Yeah, OpTic were kind of waiting to see if there was going to be any early defense-sided aggression out of the Guard, like you'll often see on this map. But with the forward positioning of Valyn, Guard are sort of expecting this to be a B or maybe a B mid-split.
Here we go, flashing on forward. Actually, I would say backwards as Sayaplayer backs up into B main, looking to take a couple of members off guard, but only finds one. They'll command through with the lockdown. Trent trusting this Sheriff to be held onto. And well, spam from JonahP actually allows them another elimination, so it's taxing, but OpTic get on. 3v4 situation, Plant will be allowed to come through.
Victor has this one flash to work with. It needs to be high value swinging off of this as the shock darts look to get a little bit of chip damage down. They clear out B main with that dart, and now Guard can go for the site retake.
Oh, but FNS taking the first step. Takes care of Net, has an opportunity maybe to isolate more, but Valyn gets the trade. 2v2 we go. Health good for the defense, but positioning definitely in favor of OpTic. That's it until Valyn comes down the staircase, lines up both for headshots, and the Guard will take round 4.
Oh man, Valyn's been on an absolute heater these last couple of days. I mean, you look at the Guards lineup, and for so long, you'd have Sayaplayer or Trent, you know, really stealing the limelight for the squad. But after the performance against C9 yesterday, and already some good looks at the start of this round, Valyn is showing up on that retake. And Guard, again, because of the forward information, Valyn was able to get them in A main. They knew this was going to be the site hit. They got a lot of damage down on the initial one, and Valyn pulling down the spray there to convert it into the 3K crisp stuff out of him.
And this is just surprising for a number of ways. You guys were touching on this on the desk. Like, just based off of what we've seen, largely from the side of OpTic, you think there's, oh, you picked this map for a reason. You get in, you get out, you go up 1-0. That would be the expectation, I think, for a lot of people. But the Guard is really setting a different tone here compared to the winners finals, where OpTic were largely in the first blood engagements advantageously every single round. They were plus 16 in overall first blood kills. The Guard has really taken a more initiative and forward stance, and OpTic are a little bit caught off guard by it. And I don't know, I'm curious to see what exactly OpTic wants to do here after limited amounts of success towards mid and B. Do you give us a first structured look over towards the A site maybe?
It's possible, right? Because I think Valyn's played pretty forward in a couple of these rounds. Now OpTic don't have the Killjoy ultimate to work with, so that's going to be making things a little bit more awkward. They're just 2 points away from crashies getting the Hunter's Fury, but I think right now from their setup, it just looks like they want to get a little bit of extremity control. Again, very often you see defense side try to either take control of A or B main. Sort of guarding those two areas of the map can give you a lot more options later in rounds, because you don't have to clear out those tricky angles when you're getting down to 30 seconds and trying to get on the site. And there we have it, Yay. First op in his hands, and he gets the first blood.
Yeah, a little bit of a duality between KOs and Jets on both sides leading to the opening op pick. A force that is going to have to be a consideration anytime Ye has it in hand. So good with it during the winners finals. Definitely a major win condition for OpTic, but JonahP doesn't really want to give Royev this yet. Existing into the Dark's cover, wants to maybe consider finding another elimination off the trade if maybe somebody pokes through. But as the spike starts to rotate, the Guard are going to have to find a way to respond defensively here.
Yeah, JonahP does have null command, so the second any noise is made, he can sort of rip that one and try and shut down a site hit. The smokes and shocks are going to come down very quickly. OpTic are onto the site.
Paranoia comes through, locks out the Owl drone completely. OpTic are in, but only barely. And in fact, how about valyn coming through with another transfer? Jonah from the side door at Tree is able to help involved, and it's just down to crashies. What looked like it was going to be just a full commit for OpTic gets once again stalled by the solo Paranoia and just Omen wielding valyn, continuing on his hot streak from yesterday.
Nah, I just don't believe it. I just don't believe it. valyn has been such a rock for the guard. Like, how are you coming away with 3-4 kills at the end of that? I don't even think we had the null command off the rip. The spray transfers again. Yesterday on Split, it was that top box on B site. Today, it's going from main over to switch, getting those conversions. Absolutely huge. He also picks up the operator to put it in Sayaplayer's hands. The guard are trying to take over here on Ascent.
This is a massive flip, especially if Saya can find good use of this operator. They're going to actually use this to kind of contest mid-map initially. Owl drone is going to be here to scout this out, and we'll see what it's named for. So an opportunity for OpTic to kind of not just push back the op, but look at this hit coming straight through Catwalk. It's going to be a 4-man hit over to Tree.
Yeah, I like this a lot. On the pistols, OpTic making very quick moves through mid, and again, it's taking control of Tree here with Ye going up and Evan. No one's ready for it! It's a double kill from Ye, and the site belongs to OpTic.
Talk about breaking the timing. OpTic shut down everything that could have possibly happened from the high ground for the guard. And now, honestly, a decision has to be made here for the guard. You're 3v5 against 2 rifles that have just been salvaged and knives. And this is what I was wondering about. Do you want to try to break through this and maybe risk giving away more weapons in potential? Also, the operator looks like they're going to back away and play this a little bit more responsibly, giving away the round.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, you don't even have heaven control, right? So you have to sort of fight your way through Tree, through heaven. There's just too much space to try and re-clear on that side, especially with the jet not in play, having the operator in hand. So, I mean, again, that's OpTic twice now. The only 2 rounds OpTic have won have been on these pistol rounds and just abusing timings through mid. Again, forcing Sayaplayer back there with the early drone. You know there's no one going to be watching Cat. And the guard with 2 players up in heaven absolutely get punished by that and by the knives out of Ye. Ye has been the guy consistently for OpTic. When things go bad, you can rely on him to pull rounds back.
Oh, and he is, well, definitely proven that resiliency, and my goodness. All this is just them checking to see if anyone's going to push through smokes, and you can almost see the visual confusion on the cams of the guard right there. Like, wait a second, how does he got into Tree so quickly? That's the power of the Owl drone pushback, and now all of a sudden OpTic have an opportunity to really bring us back to square. It's been a very strange first 6 rounds, but call it what it is. The slate has been cleaned up, and now the guard are looking to get aggressive on both extremities at the same time, including a further push through. Jonah looking to find a flash timing, gets forward, but cannot take the elimination versus Crashy. Number advantage to OpTic.
And again, OpTic blitz through mid, put a very deep alarm bot. Sayaplayer comes around with a shorty to get the kill. Okay, things are equalized in B main, but look where Ye is. I don't know if they heard anything with him coming through market to get onto site. It seems like guard are a little bit nervous someone could be down here, but I don't think anyone expects Ye to have made it all the way to lane while the rest of his team is working in through Tree.
Oh, and yeah, this cutting of noise essentially guarantees that you're going to have an odd man number situation in favor of this hit towards A. They do take down Ye, so the isolation is good, but it will lead to an OpTic plant. Just comes down to what do you want to do with the post plant here, especially considering that you're still without any of those really crucial ultimates to try to lock this down.
Yeah, Sayaplayer has the knives trying to retake with some clever updrafts, and you'll notice FNS's positioning. His position is the one that breaks the round for guard. They have to clear sight and worry about that late flank, but valyn ulting all the way back into A main. I love this play in the blind to set up the retake.
But Victor still holds his ground nicely, and in the combination of the other 2 defenders of this post plant, it's OpTic who cleanly take the 3v3 at the end. This turns us to a 4v3 now all of a sudden the scoreboard ender, and some financial decisions will have to be considered here for the guard.
Yeah, guard, I feel like you can go for this one. You still have the knives, and I think at least 3 players can buy, so guard can go ahead and pull the trigger on that one. Honestly, looking at the end of that last round, I feel like both teams played it so well. The Omen ult, I feel like sometimes going for the craziest Omen ults can give you the highest value, and it's so hard to find value in an ult like that, and it put him in a position to try and blind and crunch down on the generator player, but it just didn't matter because each one of OpTic's players won their duels, and FNS was sort of the icing on the top of the cake there to reflank up through heaven and get that extra kill. It does seem like Guard need to deal with the fast tempo plays out of OpTic. They have exploited mid in all 3 rounds that they've won and gotten into some pretty creative positions very early on. And Guard have seemed to be almost 1 step behind every step of the way. Specifically looking at the Killjoy utility. The first time OpTic sprinted up through mid, the next round they just put an alarm there. Then when OpTic were able to blitz through tree, they put all their Killjoy utility there. And still, Killjoy ended up dying on switch as OpTic ran through there. Eventually, it seems like Guard maybe need to put up a little bit more of a firefight through mid, opposed to just relying on this Killjoy utility, which is being broken pretty early in rounds.
And that's something that I think has categorically been the linchpin for success for OpTic, is that they're not afraid to commit a ton off the openings of rounds to get those advantages, whether it's you having to play a little bit more reserved and reactionary on the other side, or just finding a way to get numbers advantage early. Aldrum this time used to try to get into B main. They will find one. And as the only defender of the Guard mid-map was Sayaplayer, that trade will allow OpTic to flood forward in towards B, leaving Trent and Valyn by their lonesomes. Flashes come through, plus also no command. And how about Trent and Valyn? They're holding so darn well. 3 kills all by way of Sheriff, and all of a sudden it's just down to crashies for a 1v3. Tallies the first, has Trent also isolated, but Trent will win the gunfight, and a Thrifty comes through for the Guard.
Completely ridiculous play, just bunkering down on site, and again, it's Valyn with Trent's assistance this time around to shut down that site hit. It's a crazy round, right? Because Sayaplayer's jump peeking from back spawn, and it's just these Sheriffs in back site swinging out, getting the shots. Every OpTic player was looking at the wrong person when they were coming on, because they see a kill from, you know, back center site, and they're looking at that. Then all of a sudden you have Trent, or Valyn rather, swinging from back site. It was really good duo play out of the Guard to lock down the site. And I guess you can give up mid control if your site holds are just that effective.
That's unbelievable. They do that also, by the way, while completely suppressed by the null command from Victor. So talk about just literally fighting an up creek battle right there. You got it. And 5-3 continues to have us in a little bit of bafflement around this first half. Yay, moving quickly right back over towards glass. This time Net is here to defend this. And that will lead to another early numbers advantage. OpTic needing to respond. 2 players lingering through mid-map. Marved is good for the first. Trent coming over to help. And boy, was the help needed. We go 4v3.
Yeah, drop into the Killjoy ultimate now. There's a KO on site. OpTic don't really have a good way of dealing with that Killjoy ultimate. Right now, FNS, I mean, the map is just completely spread out. 1 player on both sides from OpTic. The Spike currently trying to rotate desperately from A to B through spawn, but Net is in a perfect position to watch the cross. There's no flashes, there are no smokes, but Net has given up that angle for fear that someone could be A main and coming around on him.
But if he finds timing onto Victor here, this should be all the information that you would possibly need. Victor caught with his knife. Tilts the numbers back in favor of the defense once again. With the Spike getting clearance to get planted, they're going to leave this for FNS to earn the lockdown and maybe use that as a post-plant tool.
Huge. Yeah, the big difference there is Spike is able to make it to site with that pick. Damage down with the Hunter's Fury, tags once and gets the kill onto FNS. Now it's crashes in a 1v3 in a position he has to fight forward into Valyn.
Tries to move on to this. The Aldrone's looking to clear very responsibly for the Guard.
No.
And crashies. Trigger discipline comes through. Does get tagged up with the Aldrone, so has to take the gunfight. Shock dart down. Expects the player to the right, not Net to the left. And the Guard will go up 6-3. What a defensive half this has been.
Oh my god. If there wasn't a drone there, crashies walks the whole way back through, downstairs, literally just following him. Because in a 1v3, it's a completely lost position, right? With the flank from Net, a player towards defender spawn as well, you're just not going to win that. Almost a situation where crashies could have made it happen there for OpTic, but Guard now go up to 6, and this is a bit of a surprise because, like me and Sideshow were talking about on the desk, OpTic, they look so good on Ascent, and you see with their very fast executes, they have exploited Guard, but Guard's anchors on sites have been so effective throughout this match that it often hasn't mattered when Guard cede a lot of mid control.
Well, Ender, I would say we should expect at least some weapon favor here for the Guard, but that has been anything but true so far for OpTic in these light buys, so hold on to your horses here, friends. Aldrone quickly in towards A. Following up behind, that's going to be Ye. And as the 0 point suppresses, it actually gives an opportunity for Ye to isolate a couple of kills and actually forces Valyn a bit out of position. So 2 for 1 the exchange. Spike making its way on, but Net somehow through Sky Smoke finds the last couple of shots to connect, to at least find the trade. Sayaplayer thinking about challenging this early as the attacking lockdown's in play, 4 seconds before it gets activated, and the guard are going to back up to respect it.
Yeah, the shock darts weren't good there from Trent. I think only one ended up hitting the lockdown and unable to destroy it. FNS has been taken a little bit down in damage, but has to fall back onto site. This is not an easy play. They are both stuck on site.
Yeah, at least he's able to find a Spectre for crashies. FNS underneath. Good shock dart comes through. FNS turns that into double. 1v1 with Net around the corner. Finds the timing as Net was looking to toggle for the defuse. And OpTic again. Find it 30. That's 3 out of their 4 rounds. Ender, what?
Shift up. I think OpTic need to stop buying guns. I don't know why they need rifles. If anything, going on half buys or full-on thrifty rounds, it's encouraging them to just turn brain off and go fast. And that's exactly what happened here. Yeah, the sight hit looked pretty good at the start, but Net was able to get a lot of value spamming through the smoke. It just doesn't matter though, because the angles they worked off of in the post plant, they're just fish in a barrel, but somehow able to peek out at just the right timings to finish off those 2 Heaven players. What a round from OpTic, just blitzing out onto A.
2 rounds to play, and it's been anything but predictable. Ye and Sayaplayer both with operators this time around. Valyn holding close, Trent on shoulders. And this may just be a paranoia peek to come through. Ye's holding, looking for an opportunity, and he is able to take that versus Trent. Valyn was looking to set something up, but it's all gone amiss, and with that, OpTic hold numbers.
Yeah, just a half second too late there. Ye was able to get up forward. Valyn pushes past all the utility, but gets cleared by Ye's operator. Now it all comes down to JonahP to try and lock this one down. All these are going to be thrown out by FNS. Just to clear there's no more angles, and they're ready for the smoke to drop, but JonahP's just out in the open like a madman. Ye, though, with the 3K. And now it is just a Net and Sayaplayer to keep it alive.
Well, at least Net knows that Marved is sitting mid-map, so that's going to be 1 free kill. Makes this a more manageable 1v2. Lockdown at the ready for Net if he so chooses to use that. On the opposite side, Victor with 2 flashes and a fragment could potentially look to challenge just a late post-plant retake. And that seems to be the case. OpTic are completely off the site itself, looking to play this from the defensive spawn in close by logs. Tough dissection here for Net. There's the double peek, but wait. Net's able to take down the first sentry turret. Out gets the 1v1 he wants, but Victor just as good in it. We'll find the elimination. With that, we go 6-5 into 12.
Give me the operator! No, he can't pick it up. Ye has plenty of money, so he's going to be able to buy that for the final round right here. And yeah, I mean, Net, the lockdown, ended up forcing FNS to remove himself from that logs position and give Net a bit of a shot there. Doesn't matter in the end, though, and OpTic have a chance to tie things up before we go into the second half. Still, I think Guard put on a fantastic performance already, and once again, it looks like Valyn is set up with a paranoia for a main. We'll see how fast Saya wants to play off this, though. They may want to do this almost off the rip. Here we go.
Oh, but Victor staying a little bit more passive. I don't think ever got affected by the nearsightedness. So with that, OpTic have the numbers. The null command comes out. Jonah stays through the smoke, but it's Ye with knives. And now Jonah has to do something immaculate. It can only tally 1 of the 4 contestants. OpTic on the site.
Not looking good as Victor, the only player to drop, gets rezzed in the null command. No ultimates or just that lockdown, and yeah, working into 5 players. Guard not looking to have too many chances in a round like this. Ye gets the 3rd, FNS finishes it off. We're all tied up, Shift.
It's a Prime Gaming flawless, kind of, with the resurrection onto Victor coming through. It's a 6-6 half. We'll appreciate the flawless plays while we send things to break and come back for half number 2 at Ascent. day is chaos, apparently, as we had an unreal first half, 6-6 the tally, but here's the thing, Ender. We really need to see improvement on this half from the guard. Attacking, they have not been necessarily all that great on Ascent so far through the groups, nor the playoffs.
Absolutely. I think OpTic, this is a map where they feel very at home, especially on the defense. Something we saw a little bit of was that KO plus Jet play, and I think we're going to see a lot more of it with Ye and Victor taking extremity control on this map. I think when you look back to when these teams faced off just a couple of days ago, Bind was a map where I think OpTic were able to get so much forward space on defense through Ye's op play on the chamber, working forward. I think he was working with Marved mainly on that map, and I think that's something Guard have to pay attention to on this map too. Will you lose A or B main control early in rounds? You can already see that's exactly where Ye is posted.
Well, we've got a little bit of a battle of the sentry turrets placed through B main. FNS looking to get aggressive with this dark cover at mid is actually in a great spot to potentially deal with this. The guard have no idea, and why would you? But the right click's a bit amiss, allows an opportunity for the guard to fight back, and as they do, everyone starts to collect themselves. But Victor looking to finish off where his teammate had left off, results in still pinstripe kill feed. We go to an early 3v3 in the pistol.
Yeah, just shots downtown. Trent wiping the floor with a classic. Ye left in a 1 versus 3. I mean, it was OpTic opting in to go for that mid crunch, and it looked so good, but Trent absolutely turned the tides at the end of the round, and now it's Ye with the Sheriff on the flank.
Jonah's ready for this. Might catch him out with a knife, actually. Sheriff gets in hand, and, well, there will be no flick shot here. Jonah for 3, and how about the guard just saying, let fire and chaos continue to exist in the middle. I was surprised OpTic continued to throw numbers at it, and, well, Trent was happy to just kind of poke away with the classic at range.
Guard are interesting because I feel like they're one of those teams that can deal so well with the chaos that gets thrown their way because their fundamental play and their team coordination is just so strong as a squad. You can see even with, a crossfire, one player back towards defender spawn, one just on bench shooting you in the back of the head, they're able to somehow stabilize in that round, rotate multiple players back in towards mid to cover their players as they tried to work their way back to cat. It was a very good look from them, and OpTic are not going to be trying to force into this round too, like we saw on the opposite side.
A lot of offensive utility, if to maybe throw out the assumption that they're looking to play over the middle of the map, and that actually kind of causes OpTic to overpeak through A main. Nice little bait through the utility to force the gunfight to you, and the guard will take that happily for a 1-for-2 exchange.
It's good to see the guard very aware of the aggressive pushes out of A main right there, something we expect to continue.
Oh,
and, well, Victor has been spotted out. I don't think he's long for the world shift.
0 Point getting the information, immediate follow-up to come through. Yay, patience. Able to turn that into one headshot in a second. Yay, you're unbelievable, but it would have been a tall ask to go 2v4 against the weapons that the guard brought in. They're still to make it punishing, though, and the anti-eco as expected does fall the way of the guard up, too.
Yeah, Ye will be terrifying no matter what type of gun is in his hands. See that there with the Marshall play. And now that we get a buy coming in, I'm curious to see what guard end up doing, because I think their buy is a little bit too scuffed to try and farm an orb for JonahP and look to, hard execute onto a site. There are worlds where in a third round, if you can get an ult like that null command online very quickly, you can try to force it, but it's really just going to be a firing squad in A main here that guard probably don't want to opt into, as that knife should spot multiple players.
Yeah, it spots it, and with the counter utility going back and forth, the guard are happy to kind of concede that position, forcing out the fragment early. How about Sayaplayer just running down mid? Full send, if you will. Alarmbot will keep this, you would think, honest, but actually it's a smoke, it's covering it, so hold on a second. crashies a little bit caught off guard, but what a response this is from crashies! Gets 3, and then as the OpTic defenders come on in, they clean up the rest through mid-market, leaving Trent by himself, hoping for some absolutely beefy shock darts, but can't do too much with it, and OpTic will take the 4th.
Yeah, I think guard stole that mid sprint out of OpTic's playbook once they saw a couple players in A main off that one. They're like, let's just send it, break down the door, doesn't matter, kick the front door in, and try and make something happen. But the crossfire a little bit too much, and didn't seem like anyone was really ready for crashies, even though he had just gotten a kill in B main. Still not the end of the world, as now JonahP has that ultimate rearing and ready to go, so you're not even worried about the killjoy on whichever site you go to, and the counterplay ends up being for FNS. Play very deep, play up back towards mid, because if you play mid or play back towards spawn, that null command won't spot you, and you can still get value out of the double mollies on site.
Yeah, it's a really solid call, and even with this, you also had Ye for a second just kind of walk forward to clear B main individually. So as far as OpTic's defense is concerned, you feel okay about what's happening over the middle of the match. You've got some good forward position, and that's actually going to call for an early incendiary to come out. OpTic kind of holding into corners. Victor turns that into an opportunity to shut down the null command and help out Marved for the second kill, and the guard are completely stuffed in this attempt towards A.
Yeah, there was a molly out from Marv that really split up the attack. Marv doing great work on that one, as well as it was Victor that just jumped out of the one-way smoke in tree room, and the spike has still been contained into A main. Nowhere really to go to, because crashies is posted up in mid, so they have to commit onto the site here.
Valyn will work forward. Flashes will come out, and now Valyn will realize the trepidation of his current situation. Not much you can do there. At least able to find him one more elimination on the backside, but a clean round for OpTic, and it really is just Marved beating the timing of the null command with the incendiary.
It's him beating it with the incendiary. It's FNS recognizing the fact that the null command is online, so he's playing all the way back towards spawn, because you have to remember there were double mollies from his Killjoy on site as well that contributed to just stalling out that site hit. It's how you punish, you know, your classic jet picks, your raise picks that are trying to very quickly burst out onto a site. Is long-lasting molly damage will just stop your backline from being able to support you. That's exactly what OpTic did, and then with the more aggressive pushes through smokes coming through from Victor, that's how you really solidify a round like that, and goes to show how strong OpTic's defense can be on this map.
And that's where things get dangerous. And the long narrative over this map is, if you're the guard, do you try to milk out some of that early utility, force OpTic to be a little bit less strengthened defensively because you've kind of cashed out some of their key utility, or do you try to beat timings? And really, I think we got some instances of how the guard wanted to do that from the defensive half. A little bit of both came through, where you're showing a lot of early aggression in the opening rounds, and then you kind of hold off and play response in the back half of the first half, if you will. So I think it really is on the guard here to figure out how exactly do I want to try to break the timings of OpTic, because at the moment, they, again, have had a bit of an upper hand when it comes to how they're positioning themselves on the map and what utility they're using when.
Yeah, it's a really difficult balancing act, right? Because, you know, there's a case to be made, play a little bit slower, more of a default, you know, wait and see if there's any defense-side aggression, but that also leaves you open to the more explosive, you know, KO flash plays out of A or B main. And, you know, then if you try to funnel your way and full commit into a site, you could also get shredded there if you're walking into a Killjoy or walking into those Molotovs like we were just mentioning. So it's a really difficult question for guard to deal with, and of course, on the light by, not going to be an easy one to solve on the fly, as Yay just cuts him up.
That was so much commitment from the guard, trying to get Sayaplayer forward, even committing the paranoia to try to help out, but Yay had already backed up far enough. So really your biggest kill potential and Sayaplayer off the table means for the guard, you're just kind of hoping to get a plant down at this point. And again, it's difficult to do. You've got really no room to work with on the map. So they decide to 3-stack this through mid. FNS in position, potentially watch this, and a couple of spam shots over towards Ye direction. That's going to kind of alert him to be active. And how about it? FNS from the corner. The flash does nothing for the guard getting further forward. It's a prime gaming flawless for OpTic.
Yeah, that was just the meat grinder right there. OpTic, after getting the initial picks, just worked into a way where they were always going to be in a position to play off of one another. Ye just repositioned to be there with FNS in mid and hold that crossfire. Just too nasty for the guard to be able to deal with. And now I think for guard, you know, having some control in mid is obviously going to be important, but even more than that, like finding out Ye's op early on in the round can be even more impactful. Right now it's over towards A with Marv to sort of escort him up if he wants to go for a more forward peek, and luckily for the guards right now, it's a smoke on Cat into some early mid presence from Saya.
This is a really luxurious amount of information for OpTic. The knife reveals a handful through mid, and Ye, as you mentioned, with Marved on his back hip, they're starting to make a play forward. Valyn's going to try to cue out some sound bites just to see maybe if that pushes OpTic into kind of an extreme position, but as they get a look at Valyn, he decides, do I want to play for this? Do I want to back up? And he makes the right choice, backs away.
Yeah, but look, you never expect Marv to be this far forward. That's completely ridiculous. He's completely flanked all of them. Sees one, sees the head, but he falls back. You have the numbers advantage, so now it's let Ye pop off. He gets some damage down as well, and the spike has to force its way into B.
And they still have JonahP trying to watch on this rotation. Victor teleporting over can only take down one. Maybe an opportunity to isolate here. But as the kills continue to trade, yeah, the lockdown will stop this, and you've got the guard in pieces at the moment.
I mean, Valyn even used his ultimate to get back to B lobby because he was in Sub Rosa, terrible position to be. And, well, now they have 3 players over towards B site, but look who's anchoring it down.
Oh,
FNFs and crashies are here in a great position to crossfire off one another.
Orbital strike will come through. That defensively will not touch too much. FNS in the corner does not actually get his gun up in time, and the kills come through cleanly for the guard. So there will be a spike plant. 2v3. Ye's already used all of his blades, maybe save one. So he's going to largely either use this operator to great success or find a weapon off the ground. At the moment, he's trusted the operator as he limits himself inside of a sky smoke. Marved looking for some information. Still also has an incendiary to use. As the peek comes out, how have you hit that, Ye? First one falls. Valyn, has he given himself up in the back? Sure seems that way. There's the incendiary down. Ye sees the cape, takes down a second. One more knife to play with. Now to the classic, doesn't matter. Marv there for the assist. And a 2v3 retake, good for OpTic.
What did Edna tell us 20 years ago? No capes! Valyn is sticking in Boathouse. He gets opt. That was not an incredible play out of him. And OpTic somehow pulled together a retake in a 2v3 after their site players got destroyed. I mean, I thought it was perfect from guard, but Ye is able to find Trent's face. The Molotov in backside 2 to force Valyn off the position and into the crosshair of Ye. It's incredible. And Marved finishes it off there, swinging off of Ye's contact too. That is a heartbreaking round for the guard, and OpTic get themselves up to double digits.
You're literally so close to salvaging it. I mean, every advantage to OpTic in the first opening of that last round. And now, this time, the guard saying, no more nonsense through A main. Let's trade knives, let's keep our position held, and make sure no one sneaks through, and that will actually gain the respect of OpTic as they hold their ground for the time being.
Oh, man. Guard taking this next round very slow. Net just waiting tiles, as often he does on A hits for the guard. Expect him to very late work his way up catwalk. Guard not often doing split A hits, but rather 4-1s and with that late flank as their option. But now the spike has made its way over to B. But the strange thing about this is JonahP is still playing A. So your main flash is going to be A, using the knife when it returns off cooldown. There it is, probably to try and sell a fake here. But OpTic, they've got full Killjoy setup on the B site, so I don't imagine they believe the fake hit. And they even have the drone here. So it's not even a full fake. They're showing presence here as well.
Not a lot of time if they want to rewrap this, especially not having any clearance through mid. They're going to have to smoke and run. And the thing about this is, OpTic are going to feel so comfortable with this setup. You haven't had to move anybody anywhere.
No.
So this is difficult, I would say, from the guard. You have to find efficiency on the opening.
And Shift, look where Ye is. Ye is watching Tree. Like, they are walking into the operator. Ye has been on fire, and he gets the first.
And the fragments there to also punish. Oh, boy.
No.
Oh, boy. Everyone's stuck in a corner. You almost thought for a second. But how about this? Trent still forces forward. Stops the null command. Ye missing another shot means that Marved has to step up, and boy, does he. 3 kills for Marved. OpTic will hold another Prime Gaming flawless. I feel like this entire round, this entire map, maybe even, Ender, you can categorize OpTic rounds by Prime Gaming flawlesses or thrifties. One of the two.
Yeah, that's literally it, right? It's running them over when you have rifles, or it's just blitzing their way onto a site. You see the punishment, right, from guard taking their sweet time. They didn't get a lot of forward information, right? They didn't know how many players were going to be on a site. OpTic always had an alarm bot in middle, so if it was going to be a B split through market, they were going to be able to react accordingly. And guard just walk in, kind of blind. There's an operator there, unlucky, I guess. And the site hit kind of goes south, even with some missed shots. Marved is there. Marved is showing up in a big way to trade off of Ye when the shots aren't connecting. And it's been that duo, interestingly enough, that's found them so much value. And it was that duo as well on Bind 2 days ago that absolutely blew up the guard.
Still a problem. A couple of days later, Marv looking for the flash peek, but no. Sayaplayer is able to respond just in the nick of time. Victor also will drop. So it seems like offensive thrifties have been the name of the game for both teams so far, as the guard will salvage some weapons and go to a 5v3 post point as they get the spike down here today.
Yeah, the thrifties catching good timings. Ye misses the shot and loses the dash. That's crucial. And with the spam from hell, he goes down to 31 HP. This is looking good. And they even have the kill jolt to stall this one out. I think OpTic are going to save.
FNS is at least look for exits. Everybody else bailing. And depending on the timing here, this might be another free weapon for Trent. Yeah, sure is. Sheriff's really coming to life here for the guard in a number of different rounds, this time from the offensive half. And how crucial is that just to keep the guard in this map? You don't want to go down 8-12 to OpTic, especially on a side of the map you only win 33% of. So good stuff here for the guard. They'll put him to 9-11, and, well, they'll be in a really good spot with weapons to just walk into the next round with.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, that was great KO play from both sides. In a way, they both had really nice pop flash setups to try and support the opposite side. Guard just a little bit quicker on theirs to crush their way through tree room and end up chasing down that second kill. So we'll see what Guard learn from a round like that. Because, you know, oftentimes you win with a very fast-paced round. The next one, you maybe slow things down, try and feel your way through a little bit more, but we've seen OpTic really beating Guard when Guard tried to play these very slow, thoughtful rounds. I do think they have the Hunter's Fury available, so that's one of the freest ways the Guard can try and get into a site is a good drone tag and follow up off of a play like that.
And I'm really curious going into this next round after the timeout, what do you want to do with Ye here? Because he has been obviously the X factor. Easy to say when he's 22-13, but even back in the winners finals, again, he was completely unrivaled when scoping. Now, granted, again, it was Sayaplayer playing Raze in both the maps that we had seen, so Net was the one trusted to try to counter-snipe him. But do you try to maybe get a forward peek here? Because really, outside of the one round for Ye and Marv pushing over to Gelato, we've largely seen the operator kind of sit, I won't say still, but at least a little bit more reserved.
Yeah, it's been good late in rounds, right? That A site definitely as a good example. And I think if you're OpTic, you're probably trying to read how Guard are going to use that Sova ultimate, either a drone in B main, A main being the very common options for them to try and get a tag off of. So it's definitely possible that you try to counteract that, you know, use a late KO flash as the drone is coming in, expecting players to have already peeked around the corner, then you swing with the operator. But instead, looks like Ye wants to avoid potential drone play just by playing mid and going for a very early peek from top of mid.
We're gonna get this angle for free. One-way smoke, 0 point coming through. Where did that hit?
That hit B main, but KO is on A, tree room. That's a sweet knife. Try and give some disinformation over to Guard. They could have seen that one traveling potentially, but maybe you catch them by surprise with KO's positioning in tree.
Yeah, there's the drone. Ye will just walk backwards. No tags. Hunter's Fury still going to get pulled. This is Trent trying to clear out the area through mid-market. And the problem was Ye is able to stop Sayaplayer from rotating in towards mid itself. So the Hunter's Fury gets almost completely canceled. And as FNS moves forward to take away space through B main, it's the Guard of the back foot once again.
They smoke the mid cross, so now it is going to be that A split. Right now you have to worry about Brimstone on site and this KO in tree, but he gets smoked off. Just drops the Molotov to try and delay this hit as long as he can because the operator is rotating back through heaven. He's done his job. Ye is now here to fight back, but Trent comes up with 2.
Oh, and FNS quickly on the flank. Takes down one before the doors close. And, okay, that was bold, Ye. Door gets broken. crashies gets the Aldrone through, and oh my goodness, Net thought he had a free pick. Did not expect FNS to be there. Valyn, the last one left on the site. Not even able to get the spike planted, and OpTic will go to map point.
What a ridiculous round there. The reflank cat from FNS. How does that happen? OpTic shoot them in the back, and again, it goes back to the amount of time Victor delayed. Sure, Victor didn't get any kills on those players that were running through a tree, but between the molly and a flash, or even 2, he made time for the rest of his team to get in those positions and shoot OpTic, or shoot Guard, rather, in the back when they're trying to make it into sight. OpTic are so good at thinking on the fly like that, and they are 1 round win away from stealing map 1.
Wow, what an affair this has been. This one's going to be fun to go back and rewatch for a while. I'll say that much for both of these two teams. Speed and aggression, really the name of the game for a lot of it. And how about this time around? You've got FNS just walking forward. Victor here to help. Ye nearby. The flash comes through, and FNS only finds 1. Ye watching to see if maybe someone will peek over through main, but the Aldrone will once again push him back. We'll go into an extended 4v4.
Oh, this is a tense round for Guard here. Net has the operator in hands, picking that one up from Saya, and you've got Valyn and JonahP with A main control, but 2 players playing forward on Cat. OpTic haven't shown this look yet in the close corner. They're going to use that C4. Push Trent off the angle and get the damage down. You don't expect it. Marv gets the kill.
Trent didn't even back up fully. He kind of had his left leg chewed off by the fragment. And still looking to find a way to respond. Dangerous prospects loom. And as he tries to back away, he just barely gets around the corner. And meanwhile, because both A defenders were so worried about what was going on over through Catwalk, the rest of the guards sneak on.
Where's the Salt going shift?
That's what I'm wondering too. I was kind of baiting it out. Where do we want to use this to clear? Will it be sent over into hell?
It's hell.
Sure will be. Oh boy, Valyn in trouble. Marved able to find one, flushing him out. Net also being pushed back. Advantage heavily to OpTic off the numbers. Net waiting for an opportunity maybe to use this, but no. Yay, sticking. crashies there to bodyguard, and with that, OpTic will take map 1, Ender. What an unbelievable first map, though, for this best of 5 series.
That was a phenomenal map number 1. And honestly, you have to look at the thrifty rounds from OpTic. Like, OpTic looked strong throughout, but the tempo switch on attack when they did not have rifles in their hands absolutely broke the ankles of the guard. And that is why they took this one 13-9.
What a fun map. I'm sure there's going to be a lot to break down, and including yourself. You'll have more of an opportunity to do that when we come back after the break. We'll have GP and Josh also joining him on the desk. Don't go too far. That's just map 1 and potentially 5 here in the NA Grand Finals.